Who would you be if everything you've ever been told about yourself disappeared tomorrow? Not your job, not your education, not your race, not your religion, not your political party, not your successes, not your failures, just you. Who would remain? That question isn't meant to make you uncomfortable. It's meant to reveal something. Most of us have never been taught how to answer it. We've spent our lives answering a different question. Who do I need to become so the world will accept me? That may be the most dangerous question we have inherited. I call it the fatal paradigm. It isn't fatal because it destroys the body. It's fatal because it disconnects us from ourselves. Long before we questioned our identity, someone else began defining it. Our parents, our schools, our churches, our culture, our politics, our media, our history. Each of them offered a piece of an identity. Some offered love, some offered fear, some offered belonging. None of them were entirely wrong. But little by little, we stopped asking whether those ideas belonged to us. Instead, we began protecting them. Think about that. How many arguments have you defended, not because you examined them, but because they became part of who you believed yourself to be? This is how conditioning works, not through force, but through familiarity. The mind confuses repetition with truth. The borrowed self becomes the only self we know. Here's the paradox. The harder we chase identity, the further we drift from authenticity. Look around our world. Everyone is trying to become someone, more successful, more influential, more important. We collect achievements, degrees, followers, titles, and yet anxiety rises, loneliness rises, depression rises. Why? Because external success cannot answer an internal question. The world hands us mirrors, but what we need is awareness. We were taught to build ourselves outward, rarely discovering ourselves inward. We chase what cannot satisfy the question we never knew we were asking. Who am I, without everything I've accumulated? The fatal paradigm convinces us that identity is acquired. Emergence suggests it is uncovered. Like an archaeologist brushing away centuries of sand, you aren't creating the treasure, you're revealing what was already there. Imagine how different life becomes when your worth no longer depends on applause, and disagreement no longer threatens your existence. When criticism no longer destroys your peace. When success becomes an expression of who you are instead of proof that you matter. That changes everything. Now, you no longer need the world to tell you who you are. You begin observing your own mind, your reactions, your fears, your inherited beliefs, not to condemn them, but to understand them. Awareness replaces automatic behavior. Curiosity replaces certainty. This isn't about abandoning your culture or faith. It's about knowing the difference between what you inherited and what you consciously chose. That is freedom. Perhaps the greatest prison has never been walls, but unquestioned assumptions. The greatest awakening begins when you observe your own thinking. When the observer awakens, conditioning loses its power, and possibility begins. So before you continue scrolling, I want to leave you with one final question. If the person you've spent your life trying to become was created by everyone else, who is waiting beneath that story? I'm Roy Dingle. This is Emergence. Perhaps your awakening has already begun.